Hi guys, welcome to our 44th YouTube live session. Make sure we're muted there, Lee. We're back in the Hoptail Lounge and we've got a live audience, and welcome to everyone who's joining us at home. The big change tonight is me and Lee are on full newsreader mode. We've both got laptops in front of us, and I'm going to try and drive the stream, and Pete's in the audience as an observer for a change. So unfortunately, he's driving back to Hull tonight, so he can't actually drink and enjoy it, but he can have a cheeky half here and there.
You say observer, I say safety net. He's there in case we cock up.
The cushion. So we're also going to be joined a bit later on by Jess and Joanna, who've been taking part in the IWD beer today. And there's another big heads up. I want you to get the peanut butter toncoco out the fridge, please. Make sure that gives it a bit of a chance to warm up. And as we always say, if you like the video, make sure you click like and subscribe.
Yeah, Pete makes us say that, but we're sorry. And I got a thumbs up for that. Cool. Right, so as always, we're going to be sampling 4 beers, this beautiful array that we have in front of us here. We are going right to left, which seems a bit strange, although left to right as you're probably looking at. So we're going to be starting out with March Air, which is a 5.5% pale. We're then moving on to the latest iteration of Rhubarb Streisand. So it's a Blondie edition, so featuring white chocolate. We're then on to our collab with Sure Shot, which was brewed around this time last month, which is also 5.5%. And then we conclude rather peculiarly with a step down in ABV. We're finishing at 4.3% with peanut butter toncoco, the latest in that series. So also in your box this month, you could have Buck, which is our latest brown ale. And then there's a collab that was made when myself and Mr. Andy Waters went up to Aberdeen to brew with Brewtown, and we made a beer called, I'm going to get it, Gingerbready Vedder.
So for anyone in the watching or in the audience, explain it to them, because I didn't get this one, but
it's a Pearl Jam reference. Eddie Vedder is the lead singer of Pearl Jam, who incidentally have a new album out, which sounds pretty good, last week. And the lead singer is Eddie Vedder. So we sat in their little tap room consuming many of their beers, including a blue one that's a bit like Blue Wicked.
Your favourite.
After about 2 hours, we finally landed on the most ridiculous suggestion of Gingerbready Vedder. So that's how that one came about. So as we drink each of these 4 beers, we are going to be talking about the concept behind the beer, the recipe, the idea for the name, the branding perhaps, anything that's unique about the production technique with that beer we will discuss. And also we want to make this as interactive as we possibly can. So as we always say, get your questions in. If you're watching online, you have the ability to post your questions into the comments at the side. I'm supposed to be screening while Wayne talks, and Wayne will screen while I talk. We'll see how that goes. And then hopefully we'll flash the best of those up on screen, and we'll address those questions later on. In the room, if you have a question, just pop your hand up. We'll get to you when we can. But excuse us if we repeat your question, because those online will not necessarily hear what you're saying. So first comment that's been thrown up is from Derek Reedens, that's saying the sound levels are excellent today. For once, Lee is less loud than Wayne.
I'm control of the sound, so I can turn him down if he gets too loud.
One of the new technological advances that we have is you have an equalizer there, don't you? So you can change our sound levels.
So for anyone, we sent the live audience tickets out with the wrong location on in the building. So apologies if we steered you in the wrong direction. But once you sat down, help yourself to the beers in the ice buckets, and we'll work our way through. First one is March Hare. Yeah, we thought we were going to mix things up and have it in the Hoptail Lounge this time, but then it turns out that was booked, so we had to move it up here, and then just didn't bother to tell anyone. So yeah, apologies for that. We're not quite there yet. So as we drink each beer, we'll also be taking on a specialist subject, as we call it. We'll be having a natter, talking about what's gone on in the last month. We'll be talking about the International Women's Day beer that was brewed today with members of our team and members of the public. We're giving you some insight into the birthday beers. 3 different beers. Preview. Public have had involvement in selecting one of those. And then finally, we'll conclude by talking about what's coming up either in your box next month or in terms of the events and collabs that you might find us at. So is it across to me? First beer?
I don't know. What does it say?
It is, mate.
You wrote the script.
Yeah, 5.5%.
For the first time, Wayne has written the script, so I actually don't know what's going on.
So Lee's, Lee'll tell you a little bit about what he's been up to this week a bit later on. But it's going to be quite easy to remember this time because, like I say, the first 3 beers, it's just 5.5%. So that bit we can get right. But yeah, March Hare, we had a little bit of space in the brew schedule, which is a super rarity. And we were running a little bit low on pale specials. So the team came up with this one, which was, like I say, 5.5% hazy IPA. It's called March Hare. The name came after the beer, and we were trying to think of something that would work. Coney obviously being the rabbit theme on our hazy pale ale core beer now. So to try and make a hoppier beer, the March Hare came about with a little inspiration from the beer and a little bit of Alice in Wonderland. I was going to say Alice Cooper then for some random reason, but yeah, it's definitely
that would be quite a different beer. I think Pete actually came up with the name for this one. It's Alison Wonderland inspired. Sure which apparently it's not the White Rabbit. It's another rabbit that happens to be a guest at the Mad Hatter's dinner party. Exactly.
Yeah. And it's not broccoli on the tin like I thought. There are trees. So they don't actually look that much like broccoli, but it was just something when Ant was stripping the image apart to do some visuals, it looked a bit like that. So yeah, the beer itself, Citra, Mosaic, and Simcoe with some cryopop in there. So cryopop we don't use too much, but it helps accentuate some of the other hop characteristics. It's we if you remember the wrestling series of beers, the Survivor series we did probably 2 years ago now. That was the part of the launch of that.
Bigfoot Festival.
It's probably longer than that, wasn't it?
Probably 2.5 years ago now, I think. Yeah.
And, was it? Wow.
3 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a new product to the market by YCH, Yakima Chief Hops, who we use for a lot of our hop supply. And it's, yeah, like I said, it was designed to accentuate other hop flavors. And we did a couple of beers, including a single hopped version of it. And yeah, I think the ones that we did with the other hops definitely performed better. I was a little bit nervous when I read that it had cryopop in it, but I actually think it works really well. Citra and Mosaic are hops that we use in a lot of our beers, and then yeah, the flavor profile of this is really good.
Yeah, I mean, cryopop's a proprietary blend from Yakima Chief, but it's quite clearly predominantly Idaho 7. It tastes like Idaho 7. Idaho 7 has the characteristics that they describe of cryopop, and I've been struggling to remember the word. Tom, you might help me here. What is the word for it? It's about compounds that remain in the final beer. So hop science is really kind of erratic and weird. So just because you start out with a lot of a particular substance in your hop doesn't mean it ends up in the final beer. But with these particular types of compound, cryopop, Idaho 7, they're high in ones that do actually translate all the way through into the beer. So it's about having those compounds that remain. It's something that the word is about. Would you Google it for me if you don't know the answer, please?
Yeah, like Simcoe Centennial have a lot of it as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, with the different hops we've used in it, you get the citrus fruit flavors as well as stone fruit. So quite a fruity flavor profile. Not so much like some of the West Coast beers styles we like, which are more piney. You do get a little bit of pine, but not in the same way. So it's a nice, pleasant surprise because I don't think I've tried any of these beers. No, I haven't. So our peanut butter Tom Cocoa, I had a sip of. So this is all relatively no hiding behind our reactions tonight. If we don't like them, we'll just have to pull it.
Yeah, I don't know if we've ever mentioned that before. We actually try to not drink these beers before we drink them live in front of you guys. So we want our reactions to kind of be authentic when we do actually drink them. So yeah, of these, I have drunk the rhubarb one because we had to taste how much of the chocolate stuff to put in that. So I know how much went in and what that tasted like. And I have tasted the peanut one, but I have not tried until a few sips ago the March Hare or the Sure Shot one.
Yeah, there'll be an element of tasting it in tank, but it's very different to the finished product. So it's definitely nice to try them when they're in the public domain and find that they're still as good as they were when they were in tank. Which means the packaging team have done a great job of making sure we don't get any flavour loss or spoilage at that point in time.
Survivables. Thank you.
That's why we call it the Survivor Series.
Yes. So yeah, Mel's just pointed out it's survivable compounds. So ones that go all the way through the process of creating the beer and still are there at the end. So it's high in those types of compounds. And like Wayne said, that's why we call it the Survivor Series, quite obviously.
So the other thing, as we do quite regularly now, we talk a little bit about what we've been up to in the last month. And while we're doing that, if you guys in the audience and you guys at home want to start firing some questions, then we'll line them up for a little Q&A after the first beer. And actually, anything specifically about this beer, if you want to know a little bit more, then ask away. I didn't mention the grist, the grain bill in this beer. It's a hazy. So we've probably used a lot of oat and wheat, I'm guessing, in the beer. And our new house yeast strain, that's what we used, which is a London Fog variant, which is doing a great job for us.
I was written here our new Hosu yeast.
Hosu yeast, yeah.
Right. So I was supposed to be monitoring the comments at that point in time.
I've been keeping my eye and taking them on, but yeah.
I've not done a very good job of that. So we'll move on to talking about what's been the highlights of last month. Month singular. So I feel like my month has been very preoccupied around preparing to move house and then actually moving house, which I actually did last Friday. Well, you don't do it in a day. I started moving last Friday, and I think we're just about there now. And I've moved in. I timed it this morning. I'm a 24-minute walk from Handley Tap now, so I hope to frequent there a bit more often.
Not from work, from the tap room.
Yeah. Well, it's about another 5 minutes to the bit I would actually work in. But either way, under half an hour, it's a walk, and it won't do me any harm to do a little bit more walking than I've been doing recently. So I guess that's it for me.
For me, again, I had a small break. I went away last Friday for a long weekend to Haworth. Seems to be my go-to place now because there's like lots of pubs and nice walks in the area. So
dog-friendly accommodation.
Exactly. So me and Salantia went across there, had a great time. Fortunately or unfortunately, we had to come back to work. So back in on Tuesday, and yeah, it's been I know I hinted at a lot in the last session towards what I've been working on bar-wise, and frustratingly, a month on, I still can't tell you anything. I suspect on Monday I'll probably be able to tell more, but we've got to a position where the legals are almost exchange of contracts. So at that point, I'll be able to tell you a lot more. And then there's loads of other really exciting things, not the bar opportunities I'm working on at the moment, but some other future opportunities where we've had a lot of interaction with this week, some site visit today to potentially
and you know how we
hopefully move things on,
but really this time the solicitors have got a gun to our head and say we're not allowed
don't talk about it.
So hopefully in 10 calendar days time, not working days time, we will be in a position to update you on what we've been working on.
So it's been well, actually, I'll put one of the questions up now because it's been another thing that's taken up quite a lot of my time this month. So John Campbell's asked if we have any update on the Perfect Draft release. Well, Pete, you go on holiday today, don't you? So Pete's off next week, and Pete's been working on marketing and publicity for our launch on Perfect Draft for probably a month, and that's how long it feels like it's taken to get this product launched. We are almost certain that it's going to launch next week, but it was supposed to launch 2 weeks ago, and it was supposed to launch last week. The beer's ready, but the guys at AB InBev have a ridiculously long QC hold period where they're waiting to see if they're happy with the results of the beer in keg. So this is our collaboration with Vocation. I don't think it's a bit of a spoiler, but it's not it's not something we're on embargo on. The beer is going to be called. Go on, Pete. You tell. I can't remember.
Darkness Beckons.
Darkness Beckons. Sorry. The beer is going to be called Darkness Beckons, and by that name, I'm guessing you could probably guess it's a stout. So we'll release more information. Was it Tuesday or is it Wednesday?
It'll be on Tuesday.
And then we're hoping the beer will launch on Thursday. So we've got loads of extra things that we've got discount codes for our subscribers and our followers. So we'll get that information out to you guys on the email or via the Facebook group. So hopefully, if you've got a Perfect Draft machine or you want one, we'll have a way for you to get one a little bit for better value than normal.
Hopefully so. So Kerry, thank you for the congrats on the new home. I haven't forgotten I said that you and Pete can come and stay for the birthday party. So that offer is still there. I do now have a spare room for the first time ever. So hopefully you'll come and join myself and Polly for the birthday bash.
And cheers to Chris Gibbs. This is his first beer he's had in more than 3 weeks. So and he said it's great. So hopefully you're enjoying that.
That's cheers to Alan Smith, but apparently he's already finished drinking his. He liked it that much.
Well, to be fair, you're the one who's way behind. I think you've been drinking your chaser beer, haven't you?
Yeah, I don't even sit there.
So Derek's got a question, but it's a boring accounting question, which sounds right up my street. How's the? I didn't read the last bit. How's this week's budget going to affect beer and specifically ours? So the main announcement in the budget relating to beer was that the duty rate is going to be frozen for another, I forget how long they said, which means that the current duty rates payable by breweries won't change unless your brewery has grown in the last 12 months, which ours has. And when you have sold more beer, you're eligible for less duty relief. So at the moment, last year, the scale we were at meant we got a certain level of tax relief. That's just reduced a little bit for us in the last 12 months. So I think it's about an 8% increase in tax we have to pay this year. Not ideal, but
people were lobbying for a reduction in duty, specifically in pubs, because obviously pubs are struggling because of more people drinking at home, and supermarkets are doing a very good job of getting very cheap booze out there. So there was a big hope that they would increase the duty relief that was going to be on draft beer in pubs. As always, the government has ignored the lobbyists, and I loved Pete Brown's tweet on this. Did anybody see it? I thought it was hilarious. He said, "It's like me saying to you that I'm going to kick you in the balls." But then at the last minute I said, "Do you know what? I'm not going to kick you in the balls."
And you wanted to thank you for not.
So can I now have a thank you for not kicking you in the balls? That's basically what the government are doing with beer taxation.
Quite an interesting one here from Adam Davison. How did myself and Lee decide on the split of who does what in the brewery? Well, now it's not so much me and Lee, it's the wider team who does what in the brewery. But in terms of who looks after what, and when we were back in the original brewery here in York and the city centre, we just used to alternate pretty much everything. So we'd one of us would brew one day, the other would sell and deliver, and then vice versa, and then run the tap rooms on evenings and weekends. And then as we grew as a business and we started being able to recruit people to join us and help us out, I went back to what my background was, which was in I'm a qualified accountant by trade. So I ended up going back into the management side of the business. So I started looking after that type of thing, and Lee focused on production. And that's the way we've kept the split of the business.
And it wasn't really that there was ever a formal conversation about that. It just kind of naturally happened. You went into your comfort zone, I went into mine. It was a more natural fit for you to take on the leadership of the overall business. It was more of a natural fit for me to do the creative part that I got most enjoyment out of.
So yeah, that's how that happened. But yeah, the brewery team are quite excited about Lee jumping on the new kit soon, aren't you?
Which I am looking forward to. Oh, that was Johnny just sticking his head in the door.
So there's a question from Rick Boyer, which we're going to come back to later on. We'll wait till the wider team join us, but a question about how today's brew went. So we'll tell you a little bit more about that and the team who came down.
We've got a question from Chris Thompson there about when Mutang Clan might come back.
So
it's not on the schedule. I think we brought it back last year.
We did for the birthday last year.
Yeah, and we now have a policy of things don't come back the following year. It's at least 2 years between releases. So earliest you could expect to see that one again will be 2025.
So what we haven't done in a while, which we could speak to the team about and see what their thoughts are on it, is a milkshake IPA. I don't know what the audience view is on that, but Daisy seems pretty pleased with the thought of a milkshake IPA.
Yeah. Well, I think most of our team would say we use enough lactose. Mangalorean's
coming back, yeah, which is so there are a few exceptions to our rebrew rule, and that's things like the Christmas beers, the Star Wars beers. Yeah. So if it's got a season, which with the Christmas beers, we change up the recipe each year and the idea for it, but with the Star Wars beers, we have changed. We used to do the Mos Eisley Katarina, which is a Katarina sour. The branding was brilliant, but we were asking to be get a cease and desist, weren't we, with that one?
I wish if Ant was here, he'd be able to tell me that Mos Eisley Cantina band, is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully you know what I mean by that. You know what I mean, don't you? Yeah, thank you. Right, what other questions have we got? Any chance of John Biscotti returning? That's from John Campbell again. So
possibly that was
it was a very popular one, and we are being a little bit braver about getting some big beers out there again. We got a little bit nervous about it about 12 to 18 months ago because of the change in taxation, and didn't know whether people were going to continue to buy these big things. And you have, but our rate of sale is definitely less than what it used to be for these big beers. So we are still a little bit apprehensive about them. We are going to do them, but it's just not going to be as frequent, and we're going to have to be a bit cautious about which ones we do. So if enough people say that they love that one and want that one back, and that might give us the confidence to bring that one back.
Barrel aged John Biscotti.
Didn't we do that?
Yeah, that was good. Oh, tried it. Yeah. Well, here's one. Did you guys remember Magni? So when we first opened, when we had Viking DNA, well, we still have Viking DNA. The first ever imperial stout we did was Magni.
It was an imperial porter,
and I think it was actually an accident, wasn't it? Did we load the grist case with too much grain, and we thought, what can we do now?
No, I think that was one of the rare occasions it wasn't an accident. Although more on that coming later, perhaps.
Oh yeah. Here's a good one for you.
Oh, yeah. Lee mentioned in-house yeast. This is something you've always used, or is it horses for courses, where the yeast is picked by beer style? Does an in-house yeast give you a signature taste? So that's from Peter Riley. So we haven't always had an in-house yeast. We've kind of dipped our toe in and out with taking the yeast, taking it from one beer and then repitching it into another. And it was only maybe 6 months ago. I'm looking for an answer. About 6 months ago-ish.
Yeah, just.
In fact, I know exactly when it was. November. Yeah. We got a pitch in from White Labs in Copenhagen, and they're kind of the best guys to go to for yeast. They're American. They now have an outlet in Copenhagen to supply Europe. And we brought in a yeast strain called London Fog. So from its name, you will tell that it has English derivation. But it's come back to fame because it's one of the yeast strains that have been used in the US to create these big hazy boy beers on the East Coast. So it's a very versatile yeast. So it started out its life making cask beer in the UK. And then it's gone on and it now makes hazy, crazy beers over in the US. So given we do these English cask beers and we also do some of that hazy beer, it's a really good, solid, versatile house yeast to have because we use it in all of our cask beer now. And we also use it in our hazies like Time Traveling Taxi and Coney and all the other seasonal ones like this particular one that we're consuming and the show shop one that we'll be having shortly. And I think we're on about generation 7 now and 15. We're on generation 15.
I pitched today.
Wow, we're on generation 5. Well, that's good to know because we're going to need a repitch soon. So you can, depending on how brave you are, reuse the yeast for multiple generations. But with each generation, every time it's copying itself, there is a chance of mutation taking hold. And eventually you get genetic drift and it moves away and it's no longer like the original thing. So after a while, you have to ditch all of that yeast, get something that is genetically identical to the original one again, and then start again and do 20 generations.
How far have you gone in terms of generations?
I'm told it's 15. Apparently, I thought it was only 7. So what do I know?
So we haven't done this. We have used reused yeast, but we've never, I guess, used the same yeast strain for so long. And there's huge benefits to us as a business if we do this because each pitch of yeast, like when we use them once, is costing on our big scale.
Well,
what should you say?
On our lager one, this is the big serving. So our lager yeast we produce 100 hectolitres, so 10,000 litres of one, and that generates enough yeast to then go on and do 20,000 litres of another one. And because we're not buying the yeast to put into the 20,000 litre one, that saves us in excess of £2,000. So it's a lot of money you would be paying for yeast for that. But there's also additional advantages. So I am coming to you shortly, Well, so first of all, your fermentation is going to start quicker and it's going to go faster. So you get a shorter tank residency. So from Wayne's accounting perspective, that's an attractive thing. We can turn the tanks quicker. The yeast is also acclimatized to its environment, so it's less stressed in doing what it does. So therefore, it delivers better results in doing what it does. So yeah, you end up with better tasting beer as a result of having repitched yeast. Any advantages I've forgotten?
You guys?
We are definitely at the tail end of it because the yeast mutates the more you use it. So what I've seen with this is our finishing gravities are gradually getting higher and higher and higher.
So it's not managing to convert as much of the sugar.
Some styles of beers, it's great. So sure shot, which we'll try later, you want that. But kind of medium, for instance, you don't necessarily want that. So.
Right. So for those of you online that won't have heard what Hedberg Tom was saying there, we are apparently already witnessing some of this genetic drift, and our beers are finishing sweeter than we would like them to be. So I think we need to reorder that repitch sooner rather than later to reset the clock as such. Sorry, Mel, we'll now come to you for your question.
It follows on quite nicely from that. So if towards the end of a spell of using the yeast, you start noticing the drift is going in a positive direction, something you're liking, would you consider carrying on and starting to bank it and have a strain maybe for just in here or something, and to get a real unique Brew York yeast?
Good question. So the question is, if you were seeing evidence of genetic drift, of mutation, but you liked the changing characteristics, would you kind of bank that and carry on with it? Absolutely, if we liked what it was doing. But Tom has said that what we're witnessing it is everything finishing sweeter, so less of the sugar's getting digested, but each of our beers has a set target ABV. So to achieve that, if it's going to finish higher, we're going to have to use more and more grain to get to the same point. So all we're doing is changing the taste of the beer, but also elevating the cost of the beer. But for a core beer, we've got a fixed price for that beer. So all we're really doing is changing the profitability of the beer. So it's in our interest to kind of reset the clock and go back and start again. And
the way that we're propagating and reusing the yeast is by taking it from a beer that's finished fermentation and pitching it into another beer. There are other ways of taking yeast out and then growing it, propagating it, and using and keeping it healthier longer. We just don't have that equipment to be able to do that right now. But it's definitely something that we'd look at in the future because the payback period is it's very quick if you're at the scale we are, and the cost per yeast pitch is as high as it is.
I want that SSV, SSV propagation system that Vocation have. Yeah, 4 different tanks in something like 2 days. They can propagate any type of yeast that they want. Yeah, it's very sexy, but to us right now, also very unaffordable.
So on that note, before we talk about spending more money, let's move on to the next beer. So next beer is.
I'm not ready. I'm supposed to be talking.
Oh, you've got an empty glass.
You can use that one then. Well, why don't you go and find Johnny? I think he was sat just in one of these booths on the back of that wall. Right, so now we're moving on to the latest iteration of the Rhubarber-Streisand series, which the public love, and I think it's no secret now that the brewing team do not. That is largely down to not necessarily the taste of the beer. It's not the most easy thing to prepare. The high quantity of oats that goes into this beer makes for a bit of a gummy mash, which means the liquid doesn't pass through it very quickly, so it can lead to it being a long brew day. So what we've done as a twist this time is, Pete, was this your suggestion? The blonde, I thought it was, yeah. So there is a bakehouse, I've got it written here, little Blondie bakehouse, which is on Warmgate, just up here. If you happen to be passing early on a Saturday morning, you'll know exactly where it is, because it's the thing that looks like it's got a bus queue outside it. People queue up to get in for their cakes. And one of the things that they do really well, and surprising with their naming Little Blondie, is Blondies. And I didn't even know what they were until Pete proposed this. But apparently a Blondie is an equivalent of a brownie, but made with white chocolate.
You never had a Blondie before?
No, genuinely, I've
Wow.
not had a Blondie before this being conceived of.
Wow, yeah. They're just right up your street because they're super sweet and sickly, and I thought you'd love them.
Well, as the reason they've gone to go and get Johnny now is because Johnny, who is, we're going to let the cat out of the bag here, Johnny, who's our existing lead brewer, who's about to become our head brewer because unfortunately Tom is departing to take up a role down south. His mum is a very good baker, and people loved her cake so much she's gone on and done it commercially. And one of her signature things is a rhubarb and white chocolate Blondie. And Johnny brought some of them into work, and yeah, that was pretty special, to be fair. So yeah, taken kind of from that inspiration, a rhubarb and white chocolate Blondie. We've converted that into beer form, so you've got your kind of typical rhubarb and custard element in here, but then you've also got the white chocolate. And I haven't poured it or drunk it yet, but what I remember from when we were prepping this beer was at first you kind of get the chocolate aroma, but then you taste it and it's all rhubarb. But then the finish on the beer was all kind of creamy chocolate, white chocolate. So hopefully that's what it'll be like when I taste it once again.
I popped into Little Blondie the other day to check in with them because they've got some of the beers on display after we launched, and they had their rhubarb Blondies. So I bought one to try, and
obviously you bought a selection to bring in for the whole
thing. So good. Honestly, it was really, really good. It was every time you got the pocket of rhubarb in there, it made the Blondie even more like melt in your mouth. It was really, really enjoyable. And I did share it though, so I gave the other half to Sal. So I was pretty generous for a change.
Yeah.
So what else do we say about this beer? So Rhubarb Streisand obviously being a bit iconic, people love this beer. It does come back once a quarter now in our brew schedule in different guises. So this is it's been 3 months since we brought out the last one, which was it standard rhubarb? No, it was extra custard last time.
Extra custard last time.
This time Blondie.
Next time up is going to be the re-emergence of the sour edition.
So
I think it's my
favorite by far. Yeah. So we said about milkshake pails earlier. This is technically a milkshake pail, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it happens to have fruit in it as well. But the reason I like rhubarb extra sour edition, like we used to do, I think it just works better in a sour beer. But obviously, a lot of the fans of the existing beer will love it as a pale. So, got to get the balance right. I've just realised I dropped the questions off. I wasn't paying attention.
Right. Well, there was a couple of relevant ones that have just come up. So Peter Riley has asked, "Is that other bakery that you did a collaboration with still open?"
Yeah.
So that was Florrie.
No, that's a great point because Florrie, Little Blondie moved into Florrie's old building. So Florrie was in that same building. They moved onto a bigger premises.
Bishopthorpe?
Yeah, exactly, and Bishop Thorpe, and then Little Blondie opened up.
Yeah.
And it's been brilliant. So it seems that there's something about that building that has the right ingredients going in because they do a great job. So the Little Blondie asked if they could come and do something at our birthday. We really wanted them to, but we've already agreed for Divine Coffee to come back again this year, and they're doing coffee and cakes. So what we might do is source some of the Blondies to have on our bar available for people to try. Hopefully you like it.
Right.
That's
any more questions?
I was going to say no more questions.
Right.
So well, what I'll do is I'll just play a little video while we're prepping the team to put the mics on and stuff.
Yeah. So Pete, marketing manager, has prepped a video of the brew day today and all the people that we had involved to celebrate International Women's Day. So roll VT.
Does that have audio? Sorry. Oh, we're still on mute. We still weren't quite ready.
Great to see how many people we had in attendance today for this year's International Women's Days event. And I saw right at the end a can. I didn't know we had the artwork on site, or did you have to custom print that? Yes. Yeah, I thought that must have happened.
Well, that was lucky because the names on the screen have come up in the right order.
Yeah.
Pure coincidence.
Welcoming on camera, we have Northeast sales rep.
Yes, Northeast
Jess.
sales rep Jess.
And my hesitation there was her role has recently changed.
Yeah.
It was also Yorkshire, but now it is entirely Northeast.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we also have Joanna, who is our sales admin guru that keeps all of us in check. Tries to anyway.
Try to. Yeah.
So we've done a little bit of a prompt rather than a script, just to invite you on and ask you to give the public a bit of an update about what's been going on today. So who wants to take it away?
I was ready then.
Go for it.
So what we were doing today is we invited members of the team as well as members or venues that
Trade
sell
customers.
yeah,
Yeah.
venues that sell our beer. And to invite them to help us in making our International Women's Day focused beer in collaboration with Women on Tap CIC as well. Yeah, do you want me to explain Women on Tap CIC?
Hopefully Rachel's tuned in as well. She can fire some questions on that.
Yeah.
I think Rachel won't forgive you if you don't explain what that means.
Yeah. So Women on Tap CIC is a campaign that focuses on equality for women in the brewing industry, and it focuses on safe spaces. And Brew York have been a catalyst to help us do that as well. So it's been great actually that we've been able to do this for quite a few years running. Is that right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And yeah, we've been managed to do that for how many years? Because this has been my second year involved in.
Before
International
Rachel
Women's
joined
Day.
us at Brew York, we originally sponsored the Women on Tap Festival probably in, I think it was 2019. And then 2020 obviously didn't happen because of COVID. And since then, we've always tried to sponsor the festival. And then Rachel joined the team and has championed it for us since then. Myself and Lee have tried to not be too involved in this beer today because we wanted the team to decide for themselves what type of beer they wanted to brew, who to get involved. And
well, I think if I'm honest, it's International Women's Day. Nobody needs to hear from two fat, white, middle-aged men, do they? Quite frankly.
Well, exactly. And so it was the first time I'd seen the branding today was a photo Sam put on Instagram. So I hadn't seen it. And we obviously knew what the name was, but hadn't seen it until it was posted earlier.
We set up a Teams chat, and we were all invited from across the business, from the bar staff, the office staff, people in the brewery, and it was amazing how creative our whole team is. And the amount of names that came up, it was just like phenomenal, wasn't it?
Well, I think everybody really embraced the opportunity to the point where you had to silence the chat
Yeah.
because it was distracting you from your work.
Yeah, so I get lots of channels pinging at me all day, but with this channel, it was just ping, 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 ping.
Yeah.
And I just had to sort of like come out of the channel because I just couldn't get on with what I needed to do. But
I was even feeding through with all the venues that I invited as well, all their ideas as well. So I was saying, idea from this venue as well at the same time. So we were getting more as well from it.
So who came to site today then to join you on the? And tell people what you actually did as well.
So we had Fosgate Tap, and that are based in York. They are one of our prime venues. One of the venues that I support as well. They joined us, as well as the Beer Drop in Gateshead. So they came all the way from sunny Newcastle. Yeah. So shout out if you're watching tonight. I know you couldn't make it in the audience.
A friend of that bottle shop or someone who frequents that bottle shop has been asking questions about how it's
the
been
rare
going.
beer drop.
Yeah.
So you've got the rare beer drop, and then you've got beer drop.
Beer Drop, I think it's.
Yeah, it was Rick. It's on screen. It's right in front of you.
That's right. I'm looking in the comments. It's Yeah, Rick Boyer was asking, how did today's collab go with, and I can't read anymore.
With Beer Drop. went really well. And I just wanted to give a little bit of a shout out to Flo. So Flo is a member of staff there, and she is an aspiring brewer. And the reason why I'm kind of mentioning that today is, even though we've got a long way to go, we do need more women present in the brewing industry, especially in the brewing side. As much as I want to come and be an apprentice brewer, my heart does lie in sales. So yeah, the more women we've got on the front line, the better, I'd say.
And I should also flag someone else's involvement in this as well. So we haven't just taken this as an opportunity to honour women on International Women's Day. We're also honouring non-binary individuals in our team. And John, one of our brewers, identifies as non-binary and has led from the recipe production side on this particular beer.
Yeah, do you want to tell us a little bit about the beer then, and what you came up with? And
Just swap, John.
Yeah,
jump
John,
on.
come on.
So we didn't think you wanted to come on camera because you didn't respond to Wayne's message earlier. So we've now press ganged you into it last minute instead.
How do I attach this?
Just some of that.
Well, nope, that's not that.
There we go.
Good.
Right. So over to you to tell us about what we brewed then.
What we brewed today, we brewed a concept that actually came from Daisy. Daisy, come on up. We had a big group chat for all the women in the company feeding in with ideas. Daisy was the one who pitched the idea of a are we calling it a pina colada pale? I don't know if we are.
Well, there was a lot of internal debate about that.
Yeah, we've been back and forth on that. Pina colada, we love the idea. We love the flavor profile is great. Everyone loves pineapple and coconut. It's a fantastic flavor combo. The main thinking is is it too girly to do a cocktail beer? So I think maybe we're potentially branding it as just a pineapple and coconut beer.
Yeah. And me and Wayne with our accountants heads on were saying, I think it'd probably sell better if it said pina colada. But anyway, we're going with whatever you guys want to call it. So I think
we did have big conversations, and we found out that actually cocktails were very popular amongst everybody.
Yeah, everyone likes a cocktail, right? Yeah. You go to the beach, you want a pina colada, right? it doesn't matter whether you're a man, woman, or anywhere in between. You want a pina colada on the beach, right?
Well, I think I said when we were discussing this, when myself and Polly go on holiday, wherever we go, whatever time we arrive, the first thing we do is we get a pina colada because then we're properly on holiday. So absolutely agree. It's not gender specific; it's holiday specific.
Absolutely.
It's like a pint in the airport, isn't it? Yeah, before you go.
In Wetherspoons with your fries.
You know me too well.
We brewed it'll be a 5% pale ale. The recipe is, I think, not entirely dissimilar to the Sure Shot recipe. So what we'll be drinking later today, the Sure Shot Mr. Burns. It'll be that plus fruitier and more coconutty, I guess, is probably where to anticipate this landing when we're done with it. We brewed it. We've got our cellar team have been fantastic in getting all the pineapple into it, like on day one, on the day we brewed it. I saw two guys hauling 100 kilos of pineapple up the stairs in a bag to get it in at last moment because we had some minor technical issues with the pump. So all right, we're pouring it in the top, but it's in there. It's
going into the brew.
The whole bag would have been 235 kilos of pineapple that went in there.
Yeah, we usually have it's a very expensive and very flash pump that's really good at sucking up thick liquids and putting them wherever you want them. But apparently this was even thicker than we've ever seen before.
It looked really thick. I don't know why it was so thick, but it's some really dense pineapple that's gone into this today.
What's that enzyme that opens up fruit cells? I have a feeling we might need to source some of that.
Maybe. Pectinase?
Pectinase,
yeah.
That's what we need, yes.
And when will it be ready for buying?
I don't know. When it's ready, it's beer.
I think the ambition would be in the following month's box. So approximately a month from now, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, most beers are going to take about 2 weeks or so ish to ferment, and then a week or so to prep and package, and then a week or so to get to customers. Say in a month or two,
Yeah.
seems about right to me, I think, yeah.
I believe we're doing a special tasting event here on the 10th of April as well,
Yep.
which is open to anybody. So if anyone would like to come in, they're in the York area, by all means come down. You can have a first tasting of the beer.
And make sure you pester all your local suppliers
Yeah.
to get their
Yeah.
orders in for it.
What day of the week's that?
I think it's a
10th
Wednesday,
of
isn't it?
April. Yeah, it's a Wednesday
I see, okay.
from 6 p.m.
I just started class with our next YouTube day, but that's the 12th, isn't it?
Think so?
12th of April is our next YouTube day, yes. Okay, and we've got written down here sensory training. So what's the relevance of that? Did we do some sensory training today?
I wasn't involved in that. Jess, you were involved.
Oh.
Tell us about that.
So we had a play with a lot of the hops that we were using in the beer and a lot of the barley as well, and sort of had them out on the table. And again, I'm quite useless when it comes to the names of the hops. Again, I don't know if Tom is in the room. That could sort of help.
So the hops that went into today's brew were Sabro, which generally comes to have quite a coconut kind of aroma to it, which obviously complements what we're going for. And Brew One, which we've not used before that I'm aware of, is kind of a new one for us, but that comes.
We have a
BBC,
long
innit?
time ago, though.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
It's known to be very tropical in its character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a very pineapple character, which again, given that we're going for pineapple and coconut, these two are kind of the obvious choices for us on this one.
So we've gone hot side with hops that we consider to have pineapple and coconut character.
Yep.
We've also put pineapple in straight away.
Yep.
And then what are we doing for coconut?
I believe the plan is to, much in the same way that we do with Tom Coco, is we'll just get some coconut into the tank itself. Once the beer's done fermenting, we'll open the lid, throw some desiccated coconut in, and it'll just sit on that coconut and infuse in the coconut flavors for several days before we transfer it out for packaging
And
later.
more than likely, you'll have the job of spinning that coconut back out of the beer. using the
Probably,
centrifuge.
mate. Yeah.
Okay. Anything more from today? So what about the name? You said you had a lot of fun coming up with the name, but I don't think
Yeah.
you've said what it is yet.
So the name of the beer is called Raise Yourlasses. The reason why we really wanted to hone in on that exact name was there's phrases that come around saying that women should lift each other up, not tear each other down. And we really wanted to take ownership of that and empower everyone who either identifies as female or non-binary within that, and just to celebrate that idea, and hopefully we can get it out into as many venues as possible, and then hopefully that can ricochet on to every year from there and then gain more traction from that. So
Cool.
that's my sort of spiel over and done with.
I like it. And Raise Your Lasses. And
Yeah.
It's proper northern, just like you. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
I know.
Cool. Anything more we need to go through with the beer? I think maybe there's an update you can make, John. Unfortunately, you're going to be moving on, so maybe.
If you want me to.
I think we could take the opportunity to thank you for everything you've done in your time with Brew York.
Yeah.
It has been
that's a
appreciated.
Thank you for the opportunity and all that I've learned. I'll be moving on to. I'm heading off to an entirely other country. I'm going to Cardiff Distillery to work in gin and whiskey and rum and mezcal and liqueurs.
Mezcal.
Yeah, mezcal.
Wow.
They do all sorts.
Right.
Sounds really exciting.
Well, I have a feeling that York is going to feel very sedate compared to what you're about to encounter in Cardiff.
I've just heard this news, so I'm literally like, I'm sad that you're going.
Cool. Right. Well, you can go off and grill John about that off camera now, and we'll invite Wayne back on camera. So thank you. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, good point. Any questions specifically for our guests?
Thought your shoe was off.
Yeah, apologies.
So you probably need the toilet and he's waiting for me to come back so you can go for it.
I'm not. I don't need the toilet actually. So you're not winning by default there. So a couple of questions in the room. Sorry, Mel, you've done one, so we'll go over here first.
Okay. Yeah, the Raise Yourlasses, is it just on keg and can, or is it on cask as well?
So Raise Yourlasses, is it going to be on keg and can, or are we also doing cask?
I believe it's just going to be keg and can for this one. So just a small batch that we've got prepared for it.
We tried to be a little bit safer in terms of what we put into cask. People generally have a more traditional view of the kind of things they want to drink in cask. If we start slinging coconut and pineapple in there, we're probably not going to sell it that quickly.
I know, right?
Exactly. And I know one person, the person asking the next question, definitely wouldn't buy it.
And we might be putting pineapple in a cask as well.
So with John moving off to distillery, are you going to be after any barrels that they've used to ship back up?
I've no idea what their barrel program's like, but wouldn't necessarily rule it out.
I mean, hopefully, if there's an opportunity there, John will bring it to us.
If you want any Welsh whiskey casks, maybe.
Do they do whiskey?
They absolutely make whiskey. Yeah,
now you got me talking.
Absolutely, I do that.
If Scottish whiskey spelled one way and Irish whiskey spelled the other, how do you spell Welsh whiskey?
Okay. Oh, all right. Oh, you've got me started on spirits. The only whiskies spelled with an E in the world are Irish and American. All of the whiskies are WHISKY.
The correct word.
The correct way.
Yeah.
Surprised it's got an I in it. Any more questions?
I've got one.
So a question for the entire panel, I suppose. So what would you say has been a particularly empowering moment for you whilst you've been working at Brew York or working within the bar industry as a whole?
Wow.
I've got one. So it's we had the opportunity last year to work with Leeds Beckett University, and it was for the We Can programme, which was abbreviated, and I've got this noted down. So it's Women Empowered Through Coaching and Networking, where 5 of us actually managed to achieve qualifications from it. I believe myself, John, Daisy, who is in the audience, Alison and Rachel, we all achieved very different qualifications from there, but we all achieved high level, I believe, from there.
What kind of qualifications?
So it's all, well, I did my qualification in management and leadership. Daisy, I believe you did yours in management and leadership as well. You did yours in...
I did the same as
Yeah,
Daisy.
you all did the same,
Leadership
yeah,
and
and then
team skills.
Yeah, Alison and Rachel did coaching and
didn't they?
leadership.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we all managed to do that through Leeds Beckett. And that was a programme that was focused on women and non-binary as well. So it was great we had that opportunity to work with them for that. And yeah, hopefully we can grab the bull by the horns and then use those qualifications for our future endeavours.
I think one of the other things I'd like to say is that we're not constrained by our job titles, I don't think, at the brewery. So, for example, I hope Sam doesn't mind me speaking on her behalf, but, Sam's seen an opportunity that she wants to go do a festival, and it's kind of go run with it. So she's going down to, is it Kent, to do a festival?
Yes.
And I've got an opportunity. I mean, I always say I'm only sales admin, but I've got an opportunity to go to the Northern Restaurant and Bars in Manchester next week to promote our business and to sell. And it's a wonderful opportunity, and it's drawing on a lot of skills. So we're not constrained. We are very...
you also get to spend a couple of days with Tyler, so you'll be really excited.
So we can go outside our box and play to our strengths and bring things back into the company, and that's very much supported, I think.
Yeah, I think as an organisation, we try to be as inclusive as we possibly can be. I think like anyone else, we've still got a bit to learn. But I think in terms of how we make our beer, how we design our beer, how we name our beer, we try and involve as much of the organisation in that process as we possibly can. And I think that's relatively unique for our industry. Most of the breweries, it would be the top guy who gets to make the beer, name the beer, say how the branding should be. So I'm proud of what we do in terms of that at Brew York, where we include as many people as we can. And quite frankly, I'm glad to share that burden, because it used to be really difficult to come up with all the names and all the recipes. So yeah, it's nice to have the involvement of everyone else now.
I think the lovely thing about our business is that we all pitch in and we go outside of our boxes to help each other, which is good.
Nice. Have we had any final questions come through online that are of note?
Yes, we have one.
I knew he was going to do that.
Yeah,
When does it go on sale?
Right. So I'll give some context to this. So with any new release, for it to be available on release date, we have to ship it to those places early. Sometimes we're not the best at explaining to those places when they should be releasing something for sale. And I guess you've had a bit of an issue with one of your accounts today, haven't you?
A little bit, yeah. But he was a very good sport in the dealing of that. I mean, you can have a look on Rita's Redcare's Instagram for that. They are very big Simpsons fans, and they are probably one of the best bars, if not the best bar in Redcare. So there's your shout out, Tom.
And as to why we're talking about Simpsons, Wayne will explain shortly.
Yeah.
Okay. Was there any more, Pete?
That's it for now.
No. Right.
Well, thanks very much for everyone who joined us today, and also for all the hard work today, and also in the lead up to it. It's to keep it a secret as well. Myself and Lee hardly knew anything, and that's kind of a rarity in our business as well. So
yeah, because we're right nosy bookers, aren't we?
So big thank you to everyone all in our business, and all the non-binary and people who identify as women who've really made today a special occasion. So it must sound weird that I'm talking and not on camera. So.
Yeah, thank you, and apologies for trying to chase you off a little bit too early there. Got a bit carried away.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you all.
Thank you.
And then give that to Pete, and Pete's got an audience mic then.
Right, well, I've almost caught it down, which means you didn't take your beer with you, so you're really behind now.
I did. I took my.
You took the wrong beer.
I'll catch up. Oh God, yeah, I need a glass to put it in now.
You're going to drink mine? Oh, you're pouring yours into mine. Right, fine. Okay, so what are we moving on to now? We are moving on
Sure
to
shot.
This one, right, which I need to pour because you're talking about this one.
Oh, well, in a deep end again. So, we just alluded to the fact that this beer doesn't actually launch till next week. So this was the collaboration we brewed last month with the guys from Sure Shot. They joined us on the live stream, so hopefully if you
it was a lot of fun that day.
Yeah, if you joined us last month, you'll remember the guys. It was a real fun day. Hopefully you enjoyed the YouTube session. It was a bit wild. I think as the YouTube session progressed, it got wilder. But hopefully the beer that we brewed will go to show that a lot of passion went into this. So we're sticking with the 5.5% theme here. So another 5.5% beer. I haven't tasted it yet, but I'll see what it's like shortly.
Neither have I, but all week, everybody across our team has been saying how much they love this beer.
It's really soft and really easy drinking.
Wow, mine's really full.
And hopefully you're going to like it because you're going to like it on can because unfortunately the kegs all sold out before we've even launched it. So the sales team did a really good job on this one of pushing and promoting it well in advance, and even delivering it well in advance, and letting the bars serve it well in advance. But no, the beer's fully sold out. The team have put a list of all the venues you can get hold of it at on draft. The cans, I think we're down to the last about 60 cases, which will probably go next week when it goes into public launch. So if you do like it, buy it while you can because it's not going to be around long, which is great because it gives us a chance to then move on to the next new release beer. So don't mourn its lost too much. We'll learn from the beer and make sure that the next beer we brew incorporates everything we've taken from it. So
Pete Super, this one.
My nemesis has been used in this beer, but it doesn't. Well, thankfully, it doesn't hinder it in any way. So we talk about this quite a lot. I'm not a big fan of Sabro. It's one of those hops that can be quite divisive, but if you use it in the right way, it kind of works. So this one, we've used Sabro in the Whirlpool, haven't we?
Yeah, the hot side.
So after brewing the initial or extracting the sugar from the malt and then boiling the wort, the sugary liquid, we then cool it down and then we whirlpool hops through it. And then when we whirlpool those hops through it, it imparts a little bit of flavour, not too much, but it's mainly the bitterness. And in this case, it's got some of the Sabro flavour, but not the bits I don't particularly like. So if you use it we then transfer the beer across, add the yeast and ferment it. If you use too much Sabro that side, I really have a dislike for those.
It's got a really intense character, and it is very much the Marmite of the hop world. So you either love it or you hate it. And yeah, if you don't like it, you really don't like it. And it's a very unique kind of flavor characteristic. So if you don't like it, you'll pick up on it really easily. So if you keep the usage of it down to about 20% or less of the total amount of hops that you're using, you can get a big kind of elevation of the overall flavor of your beer without that particular characteristic becoming the dominant thing in the beer, which is what I think the team have managed to achieve with this particular one.
Yeah, it's and the name itself. So I'm sorry, Pete. I'm gonna have to call you out on this one. You and the guys came up with an initial idea that left me a little bit perplexed.
It was just a muddled sequence of
Is
letters.
it Scrabble? Is it a Simpsons Scrabble episode? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
You're on.
the original idea. Like came from myself,
Could you
Sam,
go?
and Youssef from sales and marketing, and like all three of us are absolutely huge like Simpsons like super fans, like particularly the older episodes. And yeah, the original idea for this beer was going to be Quidjabo, which again, if anyone has like watched The Simpsons before, you might recognize it as the made-up word for Bart in an early episode where the family's playing a game Scrabble. I can't remember off exactly the definition off the top of my head, but I'm sure it's in reference to Homer being like a big stupid ape or something along those lines. Yeah, that's it. That's the one. So yeah, we went with that, but I think you guys had some concerns that it might be a bit too obscure of a reference.
Yeah,
I mean, we do obscure references, but if I don't get it, then that's really obscure.
Yeah.
And really, we thinking about it, we should have involved John in this, because John, you do a couple of podcasts, don't you? And you do a Simpsons episode podcast, don't you?
Subscribe to Mole Man in the Morning podcast.
So, what's your other podcast? Because you do two.
I do another podcast which is called All for Arnold, which is about
Hey, I
Schwarzenegger
thought it was Hey Arnold.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Oh, right. I love an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. So anyway, right, we've gone off at a right tangent there, but thank you.
So yeah, and then the reason for the television themed quote is because all Sure Shots beers that they bring out, that's the concept they use for their naming. So yeah, great idea from the team. We just felt the reference was maybe a little bit too obscure, and then yeah, was yours the follow up, the Sure Shot?
Yeah, so we went back to the drawing board, and I mean, to be fair, like we had so many like different options. I mean, one thing that has like changed like from the office over the past month or so is like we've actually moved into like a bigger office with sales and marketing, which is great because myself, Youssef, and Sam in particular, like we just spend all day, every day, like just quoting The Simpsons, The American Office, Seinfeld, like all these amazing.
So you're saying we've made you less productive, right?
Yeah, this is your doing, guys.
Brilliant.
So yeah, we went back to the drawing board, and I think another challenge for us as well is because we've now gone through this new branding, and we've got the new template that we're using for like for the special releases of the cans. We're kind of restricted on how long we can have names. So like I think Rhubarb, Strides, and Blondie, that's probably the longest name that we could ever fit onto this new template. So it wasn't even just a case of, oh, what's a really good Simpsons quote? It's like it needs to be something really short and sweet. So yeah, went back to the drawing board, and it was I think it was Youssef who finally came with the idea of Sure Shot Mr. Burns. And as soon as he came with that, we thought, yeah, that's the one we're going to go with. And then as per like all of our other designs, we pitched it to the amazing design team at UBD. And yeah, they came back with this, and yeah, we're really, really happy with how the artwork's come out on this particular design.
And it's based on an episode of Simpsons called Who Shot Mr. Burns?
Again,
these pictorial references on the front relate to that particular episode.
Yeah, I particularly love this can because there are so many, like, if you know the episode well, we hope that you recognize all the little Easter eggs on the artwork. So yeah, like I'm a huge fan of the artwork, probably one of my favorites.
I love that. I have to confess, I do like Simpsons, but I'm by no means an expert on it. I didn't know what we were referring to with this particular episode. When I first saw this artwork, I didn't know where we were trying to go with it, but I do love how it's finished. I think it's a beautiful looking can.
And it just one of the things it highlighted for me is that the great team, the great work the United by Design team have done with our tweak to our branding or our evolution of our branding, when you see it alongside our other beers, it still fits really well, and we know what it is. Whereas sometimes if we'd have gone a bit off piste with the style design like we did on this one, it probably would have looked a bit jarring amongst the other beers. Whereas I think it looks great.
Well, and do you know what? It's got an epic bit of liquid inside it because I'm really enjoying that beer.
Yeah, it's really. Does anyone get this? When I say it's soft, it's got like a pillowy softness to the beer, and which has worked out really well. And yeah, the fact that it's got Sabro in it, I'm still really enjoying it. Is a win for me.
I think we've done Sure Shot proud. When you work with someone like Sure Shot, you're working with someone who you consider to be one of the best exponents of this particular type of style. So you're hoping to learn from them and deliver the beer in a way that they would deliver it. And I think we've not done a bad job of that, if I'm honest.
I'm hoping the Sure Shot guys are tuning in, because Connor said that he's going to send me some mead, and he still hasn't. So Connor, where's that mead? The team and was this one of Johnny's first recipes with the Sure Shot guys, or was this with the wider team?
So Johnny did work on our behalf with Sure Shot, but Sure Shot and James, the owner formerly of Cloudwater, I guess he's most well known for, we'd throw in an idea and he'd go, no. Then we throw in another idea and he'd go, no. And in the end, it was just like, what beer would you like us to make? So we did that because it's a learning experience for us. So he essentially told us the grist construction, told us the hops to use, and now we've got another string to our bow.
That's really good. I'm really pleased with that. So I actually have a few interesting questions I've started to show up. This one in particular.
There's the first one. Can I go to the toilet now?
Well, somebody, Alan, would like a Brew York rain jacket when he's out walking the dogs.
Oh, is this POC, Alan?
No, no, it's not. It's not audience Alan either. I'd like one as well, a Brew York rain jacket.
Because that does remind me, because Pocklington Alan or Pocklington Carpets, if you are watching, I was hoping you were attending tonight because I need to talk to you about some carpets. So can you get in touch, please?
He's not very well.
I hear you're not doing that well, mate. So get well soon, and let's talk carpets. So, sorry, what was that merch question you skipped on to?
That was it. Sorry, no, I didn't skip on. You just jumped onto the carpets.
You've already read
the rain jackets. Right, okay. The other one then came from Pete. What happened to the Brew York branded cufflinks? I'm showing all these, Pete, because you need to screw these ideas down.
I'm sure there's a market for them.
A Brew York cravat, that could be a good one with a little pattern in the background. Would be good.
I mean, I think you would look fantastic with both those items, Pete, but I think it is still a little niche for the majority.
A cravat, I know. And then
I'd definitely have the cufflinks though.
Another one, Peter, note down. Any more Brew York Teku glasses? So we've got loads of inspiration for merch, and keep the merch ideas coming. We'll do what we can.
So yeah, the Teku are produced by a particular supplier who
Rastal.
We have not found the easiest to work with.
They're based in
we love
Germany.
what they make, but they're quite challenging to work with, unfortunately.
And then it's more of a question. This is just a statement I thought was quite interesting from Derek. He bought a single of each of their 25 beers from last month after he watched them on the live stream. So great work. I'm glad.
I guess they impressed someone then, didn't they?
Hope you enjoyed them all. So now that we've been through all the questions, did you say you wanted to go to the toilet?
No.
Have we got any questions in the audience?
I'm still playing Brinkmanship with you.
Alan's losing tonight.
Here's a question about
Is your mic on?
Have you got your mic near your mouth?
Yeah, bear with me.
So Pete's going to mic up and ask him questions.
So I've just been chatting to Daisy here in the audience about other merch ideas. Like the both of us really love the idea of getting some Brew York like running jerseys or running tops.
Me and Lee look like runners, don't we?
Yeah, it's always about you guys.
Let's bring back the rugby shirts.
Why am I thinking of mammals?
But I don't know. Question for people watched online. And we never ask this question. What merchandise would you like us to do? Like, we're always open to ideas. So yeah, let us know what
Fire 'em
ideas
in.
you'd like to.
Oh,
to
well,
go for.
I've got a question.
So, sorry, but before you go, Pete Riley straight in there. He wants a Brew York Mankini. The item that nobody literally needs in their life.
Yeah.
So, do you
Sorry, go on.
want to pass the mic round?
Simon from Pocklington. Yeah, when are the Brew York umbrellas coming?
That's a great one. The Brew York umbrella is something that I've been thinking about for a while. Given how much it rains, and it has rained for the last God knows how long, yeah, they'd be awesome.
And you always get a repeat purchase because everybody forgets they've got one and leaves it down.
Leaves it behind.
Another one anyway.
So get that on the list, please, Pete.
Kerry Riley.
We've got one of
Beer loving girls would love a Brew York Tankini. I don't even know what that is. Obviously, a bunking isn't enough for global advertising. Well, there's two words in that sentence I don't understand.
John's got a question.
I asked a long time ago, when are we doing a Brew York Hawaiian shirt? Because you got all the art lends itself really well to it.
It was.
So Brew York Hawaiian shirt. I think Andy from Elusive will be the first to buy one if we did one.
Yeah. Although,
see if Ant will design us one.
We have summer staff uniform.
although challenge to you as our community, Andy at Elusive, he was wearing a shirt that one of his community designed and made for him.
Yeah, exactly.
Challenge out there. We need triple XLs.
We've got enough material to make us a Brew York themed shirt. I tell you what would be good: the ex-parrot artwork on a Hawaiian shirt.
That would be
really cool.
Yeah.
So anyone creative out there? So
I think we do far too much merchandise for humans. It'd be great to do some merchandise for our four-legged friends. Maybe.
yeah, so some cat hoodies. It is cats you're referring to, isn't it, Pete?
Oh, I was on about donkeys.
So another question in the room, all right?
What do you do with your spent grain?
So the question is, what do we do with our spent grain? So we have a arrangement with a farm called the Muscle Hill Farm Group. Sounds like there should be a Hanna-Barbera cartoon, but anyway. And they take our grain and they turn it into animal feed. So they dehydrate it, compress it, and turn it into animal feed. So they deliver us a massive skip, and once every 2 weeks they take it away and develop it for animal feed.
Would you consider local collaborations, such as maybe a bakery that will make spent grain bread?
Sorry, I need to reassert the question. Would we consider a local collaboration where that spent grain could be taken to make into bread? Whatever you want, whenever you want it, it's there. Put it that way. We have this stuff coming out of our ears quite literally. I imagine we have a lot more than you would be able to deal with. So if you want some, just get in touch and it's yours.
I thought that said a dodgy bandana, but it actually says a doggy bandana. Same. Oh, this is a good one, Pete. Subscriber exclusive t-shirt. There's also some merch. The latest one we've got coming is the I Love Brew York t-shirt. So as myself, the digital Liam Wayne modelled on the front of the can, we'll be bringing those out soon.
Given we did ourselves digitally, couldn't we have shaved a few pounds off?
I think they did on my character, but they made yours fatter than me, which I quite liked. I was like,
what's that? They did. Thank you.
What time are we on?
Right, we need to talk about the birthday beers now.
Oh, yeah, new topic.
We haven't done that yet. So we've taken quite a innovative approach to how we've gone about doing our birthday beers this year. So first of all, we've had to do away with you're 8 years old, that means you're doing 8 beers. We can't do that. We've got too much else going on to be able to accommodate the production of 8 beers. So what we've decided to do is 3 beers. And we thought we'd come up with an interesting approach to how we developed each of those 3 beers. One was, Full of gas. You were saying that
The
this beer was
rhubarb.
really gassy, weren't you? Yeah,
The
it seems to be
rhubarb.
getting to me now. The rhubarb. Oh no, that was the rhubarb one. Sorry, wasn't it? It's not this one. Ignore me. Right, so
All these beers are getting to him.
where the series of beers is going to be called Celebrate, but where the ATE at the end is the number 8. So Celebrate. And then the
What
first.
does the 8 mean?
And the
Infinity.
The first beer, let's do the sour first, has been done by public vote. So those of you that follow us on Twitter and Instagram had the opportunity a couple of weeks back to vote on 4 different options for fruits to incorporate into a sour.
So the lemon and lime, Sprite, orange and passion fruit, pomegranate and...
So lemon and lime got 26% of the vote, orange and passion fruit 23%, pomegranate and citrus 20%, and with a marginal win, pineapple and raspberry got 31%. So we are making a pineapple and raspberry sour, and because that was the public involvement one, that one is called Collaborate, I believe. Am I getting these right, Pete? Sorry, everybody will have forgotten by the time they actually come out. It's fine.
Yes, it is.
Collaborate, yeah.
The other one that we then did was we wanted to make a pale beer, and we thought, well, we'll involve the whole of Brew York, and we'll come up with some options, and then everybody in our team, whether they work in a bar, the office, or in the production team, gets a vote to decide what we're going to make. Predictably, we've ended up with the decision we're making a dipper. Who saw that one coming?
Yes.
So we had the options of Nipah 4%, West Coast 31%. That's what I'd gone for. Fruited 12%, Dipper 52% of the vote. So Dipper, and that one was called Participate, I think.
Have you seen Pete's comment on the screen?
But it's going. Sounds great. Oh, Pete.
I like this one as well.
Bohemian Rhapsody. Someone's already done that. Sorry, Pete. It's a very good idea, though. And then finally, we have done something that I thought would be a lot more ball-breaking than it was. We have done a 9-way brewery collab to create the birthday stout. And we did it in a kind of round-robin way, where I drew some lots and said, right, well, that brewery's going to pick a malt, that brewery's going to pick an adjunct, this brewery's going to do some weird twist, and this brewery's going to pick a barrel. So there was 3 breweries that got to pick malts, 3 breweries that got to pick adjuncts, 1 brewery that picked something to kind of spin it on its head, and then 1 brewery that got to pick the barrels.
One to rule them all.
And one to rule them all, yes. And what we've ended up with was, for malts, we got chocolate, black, and special B. And then adjunct-wise, it was vanilla, tonka, and maple. And at which point, Andy at Elusive then had the option to kind of juggle things up, twist it, as we were saying. And he and actually Dave from Fierce chipped in at this point and said, Jesus Christ, guys, Brew York make that kind of stuff all the time. You're playing it way too safe here. You need to do something a little bit more interesting. So then Andy said, well, why don't you bring some chili into it? We'll do what about hot honey?
Hot honey.
So they were like, okay, right, you've raised the bar there. We've got a real challenge in front of us. And then what we thought was these combination of ingredients is really making us think of a nice barbecue sauce. So what we've opted to do is to create what we're calling a Texan barbecue stout. So it's going to be very kind of barbecue sauce inspired with kind of big maple sweetness, lots of chili. And then it's going to be aged in, I think, bourbon barrels that have had maple in them. And then we're going to get spirals of amberana wood that will sit in the barrel while it ages. And that came from Siren.
Yeah, that's really good. Amberana wood is really, really good.
Yeah. So I thought at the start of this is going to be a nightmare because us brewers and anyone who's organised a beer festival, well, no, it's like herding cats trying to get brewers to do anything, let alone get them to do it quickly. And I think within the first 4 hours, we'd nailed half the recipe, and within 3 days, everybody loved the concept, and we'd kind of nailed down everything that we were doing for it.
So it turns out it's not the brewers, it's the events and sales team, because it's been 3 months and not one of them's told me what they're bringing to the festival, so we can choose where they're going to be and what equipment they need. But it's going to be, if you're watching and you haven't got tickets yet, you've got to come down. It's going to be amazing. These are some of our favourite breweries. I genuinely can't wait. We're going to have such a good time with them all. We're going to do a few tasting sessions throughout, not necessarily live on YouTube. We might put some of them on YouTube, but we're going to do some tasting sessions with each of the breweries where you get to try some of their beers, ask them a few questions. But everyone who's coming is so approachable, so you can go chat to them at the bars anyway.
We might do a little bit live, but we thought we might do some pre-record.
Yeah.
We're concerned about the audio there, so we thought if we record it, edit it, and issue it, that might be better.
That Sure Shot beer was very nice.
That is very, very nice, yeah.
Is it time to go on to the last beer then?
I think Tom, who has now re-entered the room.
Oh, did you find Johnny?
I did, and I had
Just sat and had a beer with him instead.
convince him. He's with his partner and dog. So,
He's with his partner.
Yeah, so we're Tom sticking around, I would be saying very much take this as a model for future beers,
no, we have
because this Sure Shot is lovely.
yeah. So
Today's brew.
Have you read it?
Yeah, we've done that. What we didn't talk about actually was so Tom, our head brewer, has been out the room. He went to meet our head brewer in waiting, as I'm calling him, Johnny, and went for a pint of Buck, which is kind of so called because it came about because of a bit of a buck up. So the last beer that we drank was this beer, Rhubarb Streisand, and in there's a particular type of kind of crystal malt, but it contributes a certain amount of sweetness, but not a large amount of colour. I'm totally throwing you under the bus here, Tom. And Tom had not been able to source that particular ingredient from our usual supplier, so he sourced something of the same name from another supplier. And I can forgive you this, Tom, because if they call it the same, it kind of should be the same. So he sourced something of the same name from another supplier, not realizing it was considerably darker. So this beer that was supposed to look like this milkshake pale, before we knew it, we'd created a brown ale. And that's where the beer Buck came from. We did not plan on having a brown ale in our production schedule at that point in time, but we ended up with one, and it didn't turn out too bad, did it? So yeah, we've been making recent brown ales, and we've been naming them after kind of big American animals, and that's how the name Buck came around. And then it felt very natural because it was a bit of a buck up. So anyway, so you were saying
Next beer.
Right. Well, I'm behind again. Am I talking about that one or you? I am.
It feels like it should be you, yeah.
Yeah. No, not that one.
So the next beer is not 5.5%, which is good.
Yeah. So unusually, we're finishing on a low ABV this time because we haven't released a big stout in the last month or so, because for the month or two before that, we kind of bombarded you with them, because you had Empress, you had the 4 different barrel aged Empress releases, and then you had the Mexican
the
Champorado. Don't worry, there is another barrel age coming soon. But for this month, we decided to go with a peanut butter variant of Tom Coco. And to say this has been successful would be a bit of an understatement. I think most of this was sold before it actually got released. The cask certainly absolutely flew out. And the sales team were begging us to somehow try and magic more cask out of the air to be able to fulfill the demand for this particular beer.
What it has done, though, is reminded us that you guys, especially in cask, love Tom Coco variants. So we have got another one has managed to sneak its way into the brewing schedule soon. Won't tell you too much about that tonight. I just thought I'd give Lee a chance to finish his beer so we can pour the beer we're talking about.
Thank you. And I can't give that secret away because I've already forgotten what we agreed to do.
I remember, but I'm not gonna say it.
Well, don't say anything. Yeah, so what we've done is we've taken our OG Tonkoko, the 4.3% version that won Beer of the Festival on its first outing at York Hammer Beer Festival in 2016. And that is a beer that's infused with hand-toasted coconut, tonka beans, cacao, and vanilla. And then we've done multiple iterations of that over the years, all the way up to 15% and everything almost in between. Aged it in God knows how many different types of barrels, added so many different types of fruits and things with it. And then we decided, you know what, let's just be total hype and do what everybody loves and slap some peanut butter flavoring in it this time. And it is flavoring. We totally acknowledge it is flavoring because I don't have a particular wish to kill anyone and be sued. So we have taken a essence of peanut butter because, like I said, we don't want to be exposed to a lawsuit for someone being exposed to something that is highly allergenic when they don't need to be. And these days, if you've ever drunk any of these peanut butter beers, none of them have peanut in. They're all done with essences. And therefore, your association of that flavor in beer has become the fake stuff. If you drank peanut in beer, you wouldn't recognize it. You probably wouldn't like it. The kind of peanut beer these days, what was it? Belching Beaver, I think that's the classic example from across the pond. That's fake flavoring. If you like the kind of yellow belly type thing that Omnipollo and Buxton made, that's fake flavoring. All of them are. And so we are only following where many other magnificent people have led.
Most of the flavor in a peanut beer usually comes from the aroma anyway. So because you're smelling it, your mind convinces you you're tasting it. So it's really important to get the aroma right. I think I've got to be honest. I like this beer. I think it'd work better in a higher strength beer, which someone had mentioned that they'd love to see one. And I think
these are bigger body.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So on cask, I'm pretty sure this would have worked really well. I didn't get to try it. I don't know if you guys did. It was gone so bloody quickly.
I think we sold most of it to wholesalers. Thank you, Tyler. So I suspect not a great deal of that made it into York.
Because the fuller body flavour that you get with cask beer, because it's been pulled through the sparkler and it's slightly warmer, probably suited the aroma you're getting better as well. But I really like the beer. I just think, maybe a 7.5% version, bring Impy Tonk back, and then maybe a peanut butter Impy Tonk, and then a couple of others at the same time. A triple pack of every version of Imperial Tonkoko we've ever done, just to make sure Melissa doesn't like it.
Did we put salt? I feel like we put a bit of salt in Reese's, which helped because peanut butter, like Reese's.
Turn the mic on, please.
Sweet.
So Tom Headrow Tom is asking off camera. When we did the much higher ABV one, Reese's, we put a bit of salt in, and that's because Reese's, and especially American chocolate, does have a certain amount of salinity to it. Something that I find personally unappealing with American chocolate. I don't know why they need that kind of edge to it. But if you're trying to replicate that flavour, you do need to add the salt.
Yeah. So I think kind of peanut butter flavoured stuff is often, people do think of that kind of Hershey's kind of stuff, which is really, really, really sweet and really, really salty. So when you've got what is like Tonkoko's by no means it's not a dry beer at all, is it? It's a milk stout. But if you compare it to a big stout, it is comparably quite dry because it ferments down a lot lower. So you're not going to get the same residual sweetness, but I think it.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tom Frost. You said the thing that I was thinking, but I didn't want to say.
Tom on screen.
Did they not get the comments on that?
It does. It just takes. That's live. So obviously we're live. But
there we go. That one. They put butyric acid in it. Butyric acid is a thing as a brewer you're trained to identify, and it is described to us as being baby vomit.
You could do one of these with more everyone out.
Just basically, yes. Well, special individually dosed cans, seal them, and we could do a sensory analysis tasting on live stream.
And I suspect that'll be the last live stream we do, because who wants to be sent that? We do it because we have to do it, and admittedly, it's one of the more fun sessions of the year. Yeah, I love it when we get to that. What we do is we take something really plain, the nearest thing we have to Budweiser. So we have Osprey, which is a lager that has the least amount of flavour. And then we get these little capsules that add all these off flavours into different samples of that. And then we have to drink it all, and we have to see who can identify it, who's hypersensitive to it, who can't get it. And then you have to try and remember what that characteristic is like. So then when you're tasting beer out in the wild, you can identify these particular things in it.
Sorry, did you see, it's more one aimed at Tom, did you see on Twitter, do you know Beer Nouveau from, was a brewery in Manchester? Yeah, he was at Stoneworks in Peterborough, and he tweeted about having a pint of Osprey and loving it. I thought you'd like that one. So it's always nice when another brewery, a brewer, drinks our lager and gives us great feedback, because it's kind of there's nothing to hide behind, and we always say that lager's kind of the purest form of what you do. There's no flavors to hide behind, and Osprey's Tom's baby, and Golden Eagle's Lee's baby. So there's a little bit of a battle between Osprey and Golden Eagle, and both beers are good.
Something like a hidden, like Brew York. As a brewery,
you haven't got a mic on again.
Big things, but actually, Brew York are obviously known for kind of our big kind of flavored stuff. But every time we have a collab and do stuff with other breweries, I feel like we always, both our lagers are always very well received, like incredibly well received.
Yeah, Tom makes a very good point there. If I want me, Brew York, Tom, the team to get acclaim from other brewers, the first thing I'm going to put in front of that other brewer is our Pilsner. Because nothing shows how good a brewer you are better than your ability to make a clean, well-produced lager. Yeah, it's not the thing that's going to rock the world. It's not the thing you're going to give a massive untapped score to, but it's the thing that evidences your ability as a brewer the best, I think.
And as Chris Kamara said when he came to site, it was the best beer we make. So,
oh, there you go.
Our two lagers.
Far be it from us to argue
5
with
stars.
Chris.
Yeah. Should we talk about what's coming up, and then we'll go to some more questions at the end?
Yeah. So, do you want to do the beers, and then I maybe do the events?
So I was scrambling around a little bit, so I've probably missed something. But the beers that we know we've got coming up, our Easter special beer this year is called Mini Kegs. Did we talk about this last time? So Mini Kegs is it's been packaged now. So Pete's been sourcing an never-ending supply of mini eggs to take some photos with it, and we just keep eating them before he gets a chance to take the photos.
And it's almost like
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, and it's almost like we knew John was leaving soon, because John, who's not listening to me right now, it's almost like we knew John was leaving soon, and we give them a bit of a swan song, because you also have done the recipe for that particular beer. Yeah. So that's we've done many chocolate stouts over the years. We weren't overly impressed with them, or we didn't think we did as good a job as we could have done with them. So John's shown us how to do it.
Then we've got Cherry Cola, which is a original Sweet Shop series beer that we brewed a while back, which probably 2.5-3 years ago, which we absolutely loved, and it sold out really, really quickly, and so we wanted to bring it back.
And we loved it before, but Tom and the team have also made a couple of tweaks, and we think this version is going to be even better.
Yeah, well, I've got some of the old version, which we're going to do a little side by side.
Which you said earlier is 18 months old. I'm not sure this is going to be a fair side by side comparison. In fact, I'm not even sure it's a comparison I want to participate in.
But the beer itself, we sourced the same caramel flavouring that they use in Coca-Cola. So,
which is technically an E number, so don't give it to your kids.
Yeah, don't give our beer to your kids, please. But yeah, it was a great beer when we first brought it out, so I'm looking forward to coming back. Obviously, with the birthday coming up, we've stalled on launching Hop Sessions 008 to coincide with the birthday. Hop Session ate it. That's bad.
My God, that's
Sorry,
terrible.
Pete. That's worse than yours. No, not you, Pete.
That's all
Pete
you need to
Riley,
know
Pete.
about.
Sorry. We need to come up with a terrible pun for the Hop Sessions 8 to tie it in with the 8 series. And then today's beer, so Raise Yourlasses, is going to be in the next box as well. So they're the 4 that we definitely know about right now. I am sure we will add a fair few more to that box.
There was another one I thought about earlier. But anyway, you at least know you're getting those 4 next month. In terms of other events coming up in the next month, so next Tuesday, I'm going to be in Liverpool brewing with Neptune, brewing a... What are we brewing?
You're on the road this month,
Yeah.
aren't you? Yeah.
No, we were going to do a golden. No, we're doing a US wheat beer. US wheat beer brewed with...
Nice. With orange.
I don't think orange is going to be involved. That would be more of a kind of classic wheat beer type one. 22nd of March, I'm brewing in Reading with Elusive. And also, what was the Opinions/Belonging podcast?
The Red Dancing Crew.
So, if you remember the beer that we did called Red Dancing, this is basically going to be Imperial Red Dancing, but with a new name. I don't know what the name is. That's still up in the air. And then
was
on
it
the-
Super Red? I said.
Yeah, they've changed it a few times.
Because I thought like
you suggested
Super Ted.
You
yeah.
said Super Ted, which I thought was an excellent name. No, they're not going with that particular one. I don't know what it's going to be called. That beer is going to be launched exclusively at our birthday bash. And then when I also go to Lakes Brew Co in Kendal on the 26th of March, we're brewing a Tonka-based beer. Who would have thought it? And that will also be first poured at our birthday bash in April.
Can we do a Tonka Kendall mint cake?
No, it doesn't. Don't lie.
We've got quite a lot of events building up in the normal event schedule now that it's getting to that. We're getting out of winter and beer festivals are reopening up. So we haven't listed any of this time, but we'll put them in for the next session. We've actually got some pretty cool invites this year. That the ones that it's only taken us 8 years to get the invite, but we finally got them. So
I'm going to say we're going to Dark and Wild.
woo!
Our long-awaited, long-hoped-for invite. We are going to Dark and Wild. Is that November?
Yeah, so it's quite a while now. Yeah.
Yeah, so some way off. But what other ones were you thinking of?
I got distracted then because Derek said Kendall mint cake is gross. It's great for a quick energy, but it's still gross.
And do you know what? Derek's right.
I remember walking
You
as a
absolutely
kid.
had to. Why would you consume that thing in any
Well,
considerable quantity?
When I was in Scouts, I remember that we'd get a bar of Kendall mint cake because we go hiking and then.
Yeah, it wasn't conceived for anyone to get any satisfaction. It was like energy if you found yourself out on the hills.
It's not like an after 8 where you can go for a pocket of them and you can wolf them down. But
Chocolate colour version.
yeah,
Chocolate version. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
that I might be interested in.
is there a non-chocolate version? Is it just like a slab of
It's just a
peppermint?
slab of-
Oh right, yeah. Well, that's gross. Yeah, it's got to be covered in chocolate. That's what I was thinking. Chocolate Tonka and mint.
No, it's just that
That's the-
slab of white stuff.
Oh,
you have
right,
to
no,
break
no.
the top.
Thanks, guys. Everyone from Kendall just left the chat.
Okay, so sorry, got distracted then. And then yeah, obviously a big event coming up on the 19th and 20th of April. I don't know if you know about it. It's our birthday.
How old will you be?
How old will we be?
Generate
as
an
immature as we
idea.
can be, I think. No, it will be our 8th birthday. There's something we want to kind of tell you about what's going on at the party, but there's a particular project that's going to be involved where they're still kind of getting it off the ground. All I can tell you right now is that McCall's Brewery have pulled together a number of breweries to do something that we think's for an admirable cause, and we want to give that a platform at our beer festival. I think early April they plan to go live with that. So all we can tell you right now is they're going to be involved. We're going to be involved. It's something that we love and we enjoy.
Yeah, and if you come into the birthday, you'll get to be involved as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really hard to not say stuff, isn't it?
to not do the spoilers that we usually do. Okay, instead of doing the spoilers, let's address some of these I've been starring to bring up later. So a good question from Derek.
Derek has asked, does the peanut essence not have the same allergenic compounds than actual peanuts? No, absolutely nothing in common. Created out of something that has the flavour and aroma of peanut, not derived from any form of tree nut whatsoever, therefore no allergenic properties. So anybody that does have any form of nut allergy is free to consume a beer like peanut butter Tom Coco.
These ones aren't questions, but there's a good one actually from Alan, Peanut Riot from Fierce. I did as well. It used to be a really cool beer, so I wonder if they'll bring it back at some point. And
I think Fierce, like us, have kind of chopped and changed their lineup over the years and been fairly ruthless, probably more ruthless than we have, about what they carry on brewing and don't brew. Given we've got a core range of about, what is it, 62 beers now?
What about, has anyone tried Sheepdog Peanut Butter Whiskey? Is it a whiskey then?
I have not tried that, and just reading that feels like sacrilege.
So, a question from John Campbell: any plans for a Scottish visit for a tap takeover, or even better, a bar? So, yes, we'd love to have a bar up in Scotland, but that's probably not going to happen anytime soon. We do have plans for a collab with Vault City. I haven't got the dates sorted yet, but I've suggested sometime in like June, July, where there's a possibility it might not rain, but we'll see. Hopefully, we'll get that date nailed, and then we'll be able to confirm. And
John, while we're up there, if you're buying the whiskies, I'm there whenever you want.
And we'll definitely do a couple of events up in probably Edinburgh, but we would definitely go further afield if people are interested. Nice feedback there from Derek as well. New branding styles definitely won out. He thinks it's great, although he was unsure when we first introduced it.
Well that's a cracking endorsement. Thank you, Derek.
And Alan telling us he loves us because Red Zanson's his all-time favourite. So he's unfortunately can't be at the birthday bash, so I'm sure Elusive will have some left over.
That sheepdog thing.
Is it? You got the peanut butter sheepdog here.
Jack
made a cocktail out of it.
We serve a whiskey here that has peanut butter in it.
It's a liqueur, though. It's a liqueur.
Wow. So I love whiskey, and we have a very limited range of whiskies that I would even drink here, and yet we have one that's got goddamn peanut butter in it. Whatever.
So, unless anyone's got any more questions, we're actually going to finish a little bit early tonight for a change.
And can I point something out? You've not been to the loo.
And that's why I want to finish early, because I want to go to the toilet.
This is like the first time ever you've not been to the loo. Usually you were like, usually you do at least two.
I'm changed. It must be my new blood pressure medication.
Yeah, it must help with water retention or something. Have you got really fat ankles right now?
Actually, that is one of what I don't, but that is one of the side effects they warn you of. Like what's it called? I don't know. So thanks everyone for joining us today. Thanks to people in the audience and people back home, and hopefully you've had a good time.
And we're supposed to say when the next dates are, which are there. So the next one will be Friday the 12th of April. We will be doing that from our production site, Handley, so from the Handley Taproom, because we need to test out the technology in advance.
We haven't told Daisy this yet.
In advance of the beer festival there.
So yeah, so it's the 12th of April, yeah.
It will be the 10th of May, location TBC, and then the one after that, 7th of June, location also TBC.
Hopefully there might be a new bar location to hold one of these up, but we'll
he keeps saying that, doesn't he?
Keep teasing you with it.
Hopefully next time we will be able to announce new bars, and then we will be able to do one of those future YouTubes at one of those venues.
Well done on your technology tonight.
Yeah, we actually had really good feedback on the microphone, so that part of things have worked pretty well. So awesome. It is quite intense jumping between them all. But thanks,
Pete
everyone.
Riley has said, if you like whiskey or whiskey, depending on your spelling preference, you won't like sheepdog. I've come to that conclusion. Yeah. Okay, so thank you, everybody. Feedback into info@brewyork.co.uk, and we'll see you all next time. Cheers.
Cheers.